Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here. And in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings for Tuesday, February the 28th. Now we have a big Tuesday slate, 10 games tonight, so a little bit different than what we're used to. We saw Monday, there were only 4 games on Monday. Now for Tuesday, we have a 10-game slate, so we're kind of flip-flopping the slates, what we typically get. But we're going to go game by game, guys, talk through this 10-game slate, what I do like, taking a first look on Monday night. Before we do get started with the breakdown, though, as always, if you guys enjoy these DFS videos, if they help you out, please hit that like button down below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And if you guys are new to the channel and you haven't checked out PrizePicks before, PrizePicks is the sponsor of this video. You guys can sign up for PrizePicks and use my promo code NOAH. When you do sign up for PrizePicks with my promo code, PrizePicks will match your first deposit up to $100. So definitely give them a try if you guys have not yet. Use that code, get your deposit bonus, and you can see all the player props they have listed already for Tuesday's games. Obviously, since I'm making this video on Monday night, these are kind of just like some first look. This is what's available right now. But take a look at the board again on Tuesday. You'll see a ton of different props from all the teams, all the games. And if there's anything that stands out to you, whether you think a projection is too high or too low, you just take more or less. It's as simple as that. You have to make at least 2 picks, but you can make up to 6 picks, and you can win up to 25x your money on PrizePicks. So give them a try, guys. Use that promo code, and again, you will get your first deposit matched up to $100. But let's go ahead and talk through Tuesday's slate. 10 games, should be a lot of fun. We'll start off with the first game of the night, the Bulls and the Raptors. So when you're talking about injuries in this game, there's really no injuries. Both these teams are pretty much fully healthy. They have everyone available. We'll start off on the Toronto side. Looking at the Raptors here, I don't see too much I'm loving on Toronto today. Siakam and Van Vliet, now that the team is fully healthy, I think 9,700 for both those guys feels a little bit too expensive for my liking. Van Vliet, at his price tag, I'll definitely pass on. I can maybe see going to Siakam at 9,700, but still, he doesn't look like a priority today. Scotty Barnes feels priced about right at 7,600. I think the one guy that kind of looks appealing is Jakob Poeltl. We've seen Jakob Poeltl start. I think he started like the last 4 or 5 games with Toronto, and he's been pretty productive. We've always seen Jakob Poeltl be able to produce when he gets minutes. He's been playing pretty good minutes with the Raptors. I think as long as he avoids foul trouble and this game is competitive, he's going to play probably 30 minutes, maybe more. We've seen, when he gets 30 minutes, he can put up big games. The matchup against the Bulls, I think, is fine. So I definitely like Jakob Poeltl. He's probably my favorite play from Toronto, and he's probably my favorite play in this game in general. Gary Trent and OG, where they're priced at, neither one of those guys are super appealing. Nothing else from Toronto really stands out. And then on the other side of this game with the Bulls, I really don't like much from the Bulls today. I think the guy that I like the most is probably DeMar DeRozan. His price tag is just way down. It's 7,700. Now, DeRozan's production has not been that great lately, but he finally had a good game last game against Washington, put up 44 DK points, played 35 minutes. We've seen DeRozan just be kind of in a slump lately, but he looked good last game. Don't love this matchup against Toronto by any means. It's definitely a tough spot, but the price tag on DeRozan down to 7,700 makes him at least a playable option here. Vooch and Levine, though, I'll pass on at their price tags. The rest of the Bulls, I'm going to pass on. So not too much to like in this first game. Really, the guy that I think stands out most here, assuming he is still starting, is Jakob Poeltl. Let's go ahead and move on to the next game, though, the Lakers and the Grizzlies. So there'll be a lot more to talk about in this game. It's a much more appealing game. These are two teams that play fast, so this should be a relatively high-scoring game. We'll start off on the Memphis side. Looking at the Grizzlies today, I think my favorite play on the Grizzlies is definitely Ja Morant. I targeted Ja Morant last time they played the Lakers. I remember playing him that night, and he was terrible. He shot 9 for 29, had just 35 Draftkings points, played 33 minutes. We know if this is a competitive game, which I think it probably will be, we should get big minutes from Ja. Ja has kind of been up and down lately. He's had some poor games as of late, but we know a big game is coming at some point, and with how Ja can stuff the stat sheet in a fast-paced game like this, I think this sets up as a really good spot for him. So he is definitely in play on this slate. I think he's a really strong pay-up option. Bane and Triple J at 7,700. Not super interested in either one of those guys. The bigs from Memphis, I think I'll pass on, but I do want to mention that Brandon Clark has been starting lately. He did come off the bench. It looks like he came off the bench last game, so keep an eye on this. They've been kind of flip-flopping with Tillman and Clark as the starter. If Clark is starting, I think he's a pretty good value at 4,800. If Tillman is starting, I'm not as interested in him just because he's kind of priced correctly at 5,100. So it's just kind of depend on who starts there. Nothing else from Memphis, though, looks that appealing. Dillon Brooks is super cheap, but he's just been terrible lately. I have a feeling on a 10-game slate there's going to be better value available. So that's it for Memphis. Now on the Lakers side, big news for the Lakers today is no LeBron, and it looks like LeBron's going to be out for a couple weeks, which is super unfortunate. Just because the Lakers, they've started to play really well lately. They're on, they're kind of looking to make the playoffs. They're looking to make a push at least to get into the playoffs, and not having LeBron is going to make that really tough. We'll see how they play in this game. No LeBron, and D'Angelo Russell is doubtful. So without LeBron and without D'Angelo Russell, we should see Dennis Schroeder should definitely start in place of Russell. He'll start at point guard. We'll talk about him in a second. The guy that starts in place of LeBron, I'm not 100% sure. I think it's probably going to be like Troy Brown. That's my most likely guess, like Troy Brown or maybe Lonnie Walker or something. But it's probably going to be Troy Brown. I know he's made some starts this season, so he should start there. We'll start off at the top, though, with Anthony Davis. So Anthony Davis, obviously, we can expect a really big role here without LeBron. The offense is going to kind of run through Anthony Davis. This matchup against Memphis is normally not one I like to target for centers, but without Steven Adams, I think this matchup is definitely better than you really expect. Triple J is a good defender, but he's also kind of foul-prone. I think this is a good spot for Anthony Davis. The usage should be really good without LeBron, so I'm definitely interested in him as a pay-up option today. Then the rest of the Lakers, all these guys are cheap. Besides Anthony Davis, the most expensive player on the Lakers is $4,900. So you're going to get a lot of value here. Dennis Schroeder is going to start at point guard, should play big minutes, should have a really big role. I think he looks like a really strong value today. He's been really good in the games that he's played without LeBron this season. Take Westbrook off the floor as well, and that's even better for Schroeder. So I really like Schroeder at $4,900. I think Malik Beasley is going to be in line to pick up more usage. Last game had a really, really poor shooting game, but so far with the Lakers, he's been pretty solid in the games that he's played. Minutes should be really good here. I think he's a good value at $4,500. And then we saw Jared Vanderbilt just go absolutely nuts last game. Had a big double-double, put up 47 Draftkings points in 27 minutes. Vanderbilt has always been a good per-minute producer. The only issue is that he just never really plays like massive minutes. At most, he's probably going to play like 30 minutes, but if we're getting 30 minutes from Jared Vanderbilt at $4,100, especially without LeBron, I think he can produce a good score at his price tag. So a lot of value from the Lakers. Those are probably my three favorite values, Schroeder, Beasley, and Vanderbilt. The rest of these guys, I think, are just kind of like dart throws. Like if you want to take a dart throw on Austin Reeves, I don't hate it. Troy Brown will probably start in place of LeBron. If you want to take a dart throw on Troy Brown, it's fine. But that's where I'm kind of looking to from the Lakers today. And I think that's it for this game. So let's move on to the next game, the Wizards and the Hawks. So we'll start off with Atlanta. Looking at Atlanta today, I don't see too much I'm really liking on the Hawks here. Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, where they're priced at, I think both feel priced about right. I think the spot for Trae Young is pretty good. Washington, they don't really have like any elite defenders. Denny Avdia is kind of their guy they like to use on defense. DeLon Wright's a good defender, but he's going to come off the bench. So I think it's a pretty good spot for Trae Young. The $9,500 price tag makes him just more of a GPP play, not a standout option, but he's playable. DeJounte Murray is kind of always playable. Neither one of those guys are priorities today, though. Clint Capella at $5,700, I think, is in a pretty good spot going up against Daniel Gafford. The Wizards have given us some big games to centers this season. Capella's minutes, last game he only played 19 minutes, which was definitely concerning. The game before that, he only played 21. His minutes have kind of been all over the place this season. He's not really been playing a ton. At most, he's probably going to play like 30 minutes, but I could definitely see Capella putting up a good game in 30 minutes against this Wizards team. And at his price tag, I think he's worth a sprinkle if you're playing a lot of lineups. Not really on any other Atlanta guys, though. John Collins is really cheap at $4,700. If you want to go there, I don't hate it. I think he's like an okay value, but there's probably going to be better value on a 10-game slate. So let's talk about the other side of this game now with the Wizards. So for the Wizards today, Kristaps Porzingis is doubtful for this game, so he's not expected to play. And then Monte Morris was out last game, and he is listed as questionable. So the Monte Morris news is actually kind of important. We did see DeLon Wright start last game in place of Monte Morris. He played 28 minutes, was not very productive, but DeLon Wright has always been a pretty good permanent producer throughout his career. So if he winds up starting here, again, he's one of their better defenders. So I think they would want his defense out there against Trae and against DeJounte. He would probably have to play a lot if he starts. I would definitely like DeLon Wright for value if Monte Morris is out again. We'll just have to wait and see there. And then obviously without Porzingis, we can expect more usage for Kyle Kuzma, more usage for Bradley Beal. Denny Avdia should start once again in place of Porzingis. I think he's an okay value at $5,100. Beal and Kuzma at their price tags, I don't mind either one. $7,800 for Kuzma, $7,600 for Beal. Neither one of those price tags are like super expensive. We've seen Kuzma price like in the $9K range for a lot of the season. I know he's not been producing that well lately, but especially without Porzingis here, I think at $7,800, Kuzma's definitely playable. I think Bradley Beal at $7,600 is playable as well. Neither one of these guys were great last game without Porzingis, but they also got blown out by the Bulls. Beal didn't have the best shooting game. I think without Porzingis, there's going to be plenty of uses for those two guys to soak up, and as long as this game is competitive, you would think those are going to be the two guys that are probably the reason why. They're going to be the ones doing a lot of the scoring for Washington. So for Washington today, there's actually a couple of guys I like: Kuzma, Beal, Advia, and then again, if Monte Morris is out, I think DeLon Wright's in play. Do also want to mention Daniel Gafford as a value play. So Daniel Gafford last game did play 31 minutes, was really productive. I think he's a very good value as well. Almost skipped over him. His minutes are definitely going to be more secure without Porzingis. He's going to play all of his minutes at center. And Daniel Gafford has always been a good per-minute producer. They're going to want his size out there against Clint Capella. So yeah, Daniel Gafford, 4,500. Another guy that I'm kind of looking to for value. So lots to like on the Wizards today. For sure, I think my favorite play here is probably Gafford. But keep an eye on this Monte Morris news. If he's out, I really like DeLon Wright. And then I think, again, Kuzma, Beal, Advia are also playable too. Let's move on to the next game, though, the Bucks and the Nets. So we'll start off on the Brooklyn side here. For Brooklyn, there's not too much to like, I don't think, on Brooklyn. Not the best spot against Milwaukee. Brooklyn has also not been playing that well lately. They've kind of been giving up some big leads. They got blown out recently. I worry about blowout risk a little bit here. Mikal Bridges is going to have a really big role, and he's had a really big role with this Brooklyn team. But in this matchup against Milwaukee and where he's priced at, I think Bridges is just kind of like he's a contrarian GPP play. Same goes for Spencer Dinwiddie at 7K. Nick Claxton, his productions, he's always been a good per-minute producer, but the minutes have been down a little bit lately. Last game, he was kind of in foul trouble, but he did play 30 minutes and did have 36 Draftkings points. I don't love the spot against the Bucks, but if Claxton does get 30-plus minutes, I mean, he can easily outperform a $6,200 salary. He's like a GPP sprinkle. Cam Johnson's been solid as a starter, but I think his price tag at $5,200 feels about right. He did play 36 minutes last game, which was the most he had played since joining the team. It seems like Cam Johnson's going to be kind of a key piece of their starting unit, and he's going to play big minutes on a nightly basis. So I don't mind him at $5,200. That's pretty much it, though, for Brooklyn. Nothing else looks that appealing here. Now, on the other side with Milwaukee, Giannis is expected to play today. He is listed as probable. So with Giannis expected back, that just kind of makes everyone look not appealing. Drew, Portis, Brook Lopez, Middleton, these guys all look a little bit overpriced now that Giannis is expected back. Giannis himself at $12,300, I don't hate, but the matchup against Brooklyn is not the best. Brooklyn, with Mikal Bridges, with Dorian Finney-Smith, with Claxton, this is a good defensive team. Giannis is also kind of priced to his his max price. Plus, it's his first game back from injury. I think there's a lot of holes you can poke in Giannis today, but if there's a lot of value on the slate, which it seems like there already is going to be, it's probably you're going to be able to play Giannis if you want to pay up for him. So I don't have an issue with Giannis here, but have a feeling there's going to be other guys worth targeting that we'll talk about later that I like more. So that's probably it for that game. Really, Milwaukee, outside of Giannis, is kind of just like a full fade here. So let's talk about the next game, Sacramento and OKC. I think we did just see these two teams play a couple days ago. They're playing again today. No SGA once again for the Thunder. We did see last game they started Isaiah Joe in place of SGA. I think he has started the last two games. He actually got benched to start the second half last game, but then he came off the bench in the second half and had a huge second half. Not sure what to do with Isaiah Joe here. He played 36 minutes the last game he started for SGA, or the game before that, and then the last game against Sacramento in this matchup again. He got benched in the second half, but then wound up having a huge second half, and they played him a ton. So it's a really tricky situation. I have a feeling that if Isaiah Joe comes out sloppy and he's not really doing much, he could definitely get benched. But if he is playing really well, if he's knocking down shots, they'll give him big minutes, and he's shown that he can produce when he does get minutes, especially without SGA. So I think Isaiah Joe is still playable for value. Not a priority, I don't think, but he's still playable. Josh Giddey at $7,500, I do like a good amount. He's not been great the last two games without SGA, but we know Giddey should be one of the biggest beneficiaries with SGA off the floor. The price tag is $7,500. I don't think is priced where it should be. I think with SGA out, Giddey should be over 8K, so I think we're getting a discount on Giddey here. I do have some interest in him. Jalen Williams been pretty good in the two games without SGA. 37 DK points, 29 DK points. I think his price tag at $6,000. It's kind of, at its peak. I think he's priced where he should be, but he is still a playable option. And then Lou Dort has also been pretty good in the two games without SGA. 36 DK points, 26 DK points, been playing big minutes. I think at 5K, he's an okay value as well. So there's definitely some plays to like on the Thunder here. Don't think I'm considering anyone else, though, on this OKC team. And then on the other side with Sacramento, so big news to monitor for Sacramento is that De'Aaron Fox is questionable. Obviously, if De'Aaron Fox gets ruled out, that kind of helps everyone. Sabonis gets a boost. Malik Monk, Kevin Huerter, Harrison Barnes. These guys all get a little bit of a bump. And then we probably would see Davion Mitchell start in place of De'Aaron Fox. Now, Davion Mitchell has started multiple games this season for Fox, and he's been pretty bad in a lot of the games that he has started. He's still minimum, though. He's 3K. I think if he starts, like if De'Aaron Fox is out and Davion Mitchell starts, I think Davion Mitchell's still going to be an okay value. I don't know if he'd be like a free square, but I think he'd still be a pretty solid option just because he is stone minimum. And it's going to be really hard for him to kill you when he's minimum salary. Obviously, he's the guy that benefits, if Fox is out, just in terms of a minutes boost. Sabonis, though, I like a lot in this matchup against OKC. He was kind of underwhelming last time these two teams played on Saturday or Sunday, I believe that was. Had 14 points, 15 rebounds, 8 assists, had 44 DK points. We've seen OKC give up big games to centers this year. They've been a really bad rebounding team. They've been a team you can beat on the glass. So I think the spot is pretty good for Sabonis, and obviously Sabonis' outlook would only increase if Fox got ruled out. So I definitely am interested in Sabonis today. The rest of Sacramento, though, guys like Monk, Herter, Barnes, I'm probably only considering these guys if De'Aaron Fox is out. If De'Aaron Fox plays, I'll pass on the rest of these Sacramento guys. So let's go ahead and move on to the next game, Denver and Houston. So for Houston today, some news to monitor here. No Jay Shante, and Kevin Porter Jr. is listed as questionable for this game. Kevin Porter Jr. been out for a while, been out for like over a month. They will be getting Jalen Green back. Jalen Green not on the injury report, so he should be back for this game. Houston, I think, is probably going to be like a wait and see. We'll have to wait and see if Kevin Porter Jr. plays. If he plays, I don't really think there's going to be much to target on Houston because a lot of these guys are going to take a hit now that Jalen Green is back, and if Kevin Porter Jr. returns as well, that's going to take a hit to those guys as well. Şengün in this matchup, I'm definitely probably going to pass on. Tough spot against Jokic. Obviously, there's foul trouble risk here as well. Plus the minutes on Şengün, like I don't know what Houston's doing right now. I think they're literally like it's pretty clear they don't want to win games. So the last two games, like even it's been somewhat competitive, and they just like don't even play Şengün in the fourth quarter. He didn't play at all in the fourth quarter last game. I think the game against Golden State, he didn't play at all in the fourth quarter. I don't know what to do with Şengün right now. It doesn't seem like they're going to play him 36 minutes. It seems like he's kind of going to be capped, and if it looks like it's going to be a blowout, they're definitely not going to sub him back in. So Şengün's definitely risky right now. I'll probably pass on him, especially if the guards are back. And with the guards back, that takes away my interest in guys like Jabari Smith and KJ Martin and pretty much the rest of this Houston team. We have seen Jay Shante start lately. And like if Kevin Porter Jr. remains out, I don't know who's going to start in place of Kevin Porter Jr. It could be Ty Washington. He's been okay as a starter, but not been a guy that like I feel like you have to go to. At 4,300, he'd be playable, but yeah, you're probably not going to go there on a 10-game slate, and especially with Jalen Green back too. I think that definitely hurts the rest of these guards. So honestly, Houston, not too much to like on Houston. Maybe if Kevin Porter Jr. sits, we could look to somebody here, but I'm pretty much going to be looking to avoid the Rockets today. And then on the other side with Denver, obviously a really good spot here for Denver. There's definitely blowout risk in this game, but Nikola Jokic should just absolutely smash here. I mean, Houston is going to have no answer for him. I know these two teams have played already this season. I think Jokic has done like really well in limited minutes. I think both games were blowouts. Let's see if I can find them. So yeah, they played Houston twice. Jokic played 27 minutes and had 59 DK points, and then he played 28 minutes and had 50 DK points. So he's crushed in limited minutes against Houston. This game's being played in Houston, so maybe the Rockets keep this one close. If they do, Jokic could absolutely smash here. I think Jokic is definitely one of the stronger pay-up options on the slate. Would put him up there with guys like Ja Morant and Anthony Davis. I like those guys quite a bit as well. The rest of Denver, though, like it's a really good spot for Jamal Murray, but at 8K, I think he's probably a guy I'm just going to pass on. He's questionable for this game, too, so keep an eye on this. I think Aaron Gordon's questionable as well, or he's probable. So Aaron Gordon's probable, but Jamal Murray is questionable. Obviously, if Jamal Murray plays, he's playable, but again, at 8K, not super interested. If Jamal Murray gets ruled out, that would benefit, really, a lot of these main guys like Jokic, Gordon, MPJ. They'd all get a boost if Murray's out, and then we would probably see Bruce Brown start at point guard. He's only 4,300. I think Bruce Brown would be a really good value today if he winds up starting. There probably would be some more minutes available as well for like Reggie Jackson. Maybe they start Reggie Jackson in place of, or Murray if Murray were to sit. But I think for the most part, it's probably going to be Bruce Brown. So Bruce Brown would be a guy we could consider for value there. But the rest of the Denver guys, Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., probably only considering these guys if Jamal Murray's out. So let's move on to the next game. We still got 4 more to go over. Indiana and Dallas. Don't think there's going to be much to like on this game for Dallas here. Luka and Kyrie, I think Where they're priced at, $12K for Luka, $9,900 for Kyrie. Neither one looked that appealing on a 10-game slate. I just think there's other options I'd rather pay up for today. The rest of Dallas, like Christian Wood, is a guy that can produce when he gets minutes, but he's been coming off the bench and playing limited minutes, so he's pretty much just like not that appealing right now until he gets priced way down. I don't see much to like on Dallas here. It's kind of like a full fade for me, honestly. Luka, Kyrie, if you want to play them in GPPs, you can, but they're not priorities for me today. And then on Indiana, I don't see too much I like on Indiana either. Halliburton, always a fine GPP play, but I think at 9,300 he is priced correctly here. Just like a GPP dart throw. Miles Turner at 7,400 feels priced about right too. I think the matchup for him is pretty solid. Like I don't think Dallas is like the best defense against centers. Dwight Powell and Christian Wood, especially Christian Wood, never been a great defender. So don't mind Turner, but there's no priority plays coming from Indiana. I think you're just kind of looking at like Halliburton and Turner as GPP options. And that'll do it for that game. Not too much to like in this one. Definitely one of the least appealing games on the slate, I think. So let's move on to the next game, the Spurs and the Jazz. We'll start off with the Jazz side. So for the Jazz today, there's definitely some news to talk about here. No Jordan Clarkson, no Colin Sexton still. So they're definitely going to be shorthanded at the guard position. Obviously, they traded away Mike Conley, so we can expect a lot of minutes for Talen Horton-Tucker. I assume Talen Horton-Tucker will play big minutes here. As long as he avoids foul trouble, he should play like 30-plus minutes. He only played 24 minutes last game in this matchup, but I think he was in foul trouble that game. So I think Talen Horton-Tucker looks like a great play at 5,900. He's been really productive with the Jazz this season. Should continue to be productive without Clarkson, without Sexton. He's definitely my favorite play on Utah, but there's a lot to like on the Jazz. I mean, it's a really good matchup against San Antonio. Lauri Markkanen should crush here, but the price tag at 9,400, not a priority play at this price tag. If he was like 8K today, I'd have a lot more interest, but at 9,400, I think that just makes him a GPP option. Walker Kessler's price tag has also come up a lot to 6,700. I think he's still a pretty good play. I think the matchup's really good. San Antonio's been getting killed by bigs this season, so definitely think Walker Kessler is viable at 6,700. Kelly Olynyk at 5,600 I think is playable too, but he's probably like my fourth or fifth favorite play on the Jazz. The rest of Utah, though, I don't see too much else to like here. We'll have to wait and see what the starting lineup is. I assume we'll see Markkanen, Kessler, Horton-Tucker, Olynyk start. The fifth starter will probably be Ogbaji. He usually starts in these scenarios. He's not like the best permanent producer, but if he does start, he's only 3,800. He is really cheap. I think he would definitely be in play for value if he does wind up starting. But that's pretty much it for Utah. Really, the main guys are kind of who we're looking to here. Lauri, Kessler, THT. Those are definitely my three favorite plays on Utah. Now, on the San Antonio side, not as much to like on San Antonio. San Antonio still without Devin Vassell. Trey Jones is questionable for this game, so Trey Jones can maybe return here. He's been out for a while. If he returns, that pretty much is going to take guys like Malachi Branham, Devontae Graham out of play. Don't really have a ton of interest in those guys either way, but they would pretty much be out of play if Trey Jones returns. And if Trey Jones does return, that hurts Keldon Johnson a little bit. I still think Keldon at 6,900 is okay. As long as San Antonio can keep this game close, which they kind of did last game, we did see Keldon Johnson play 37 minutes, so he's going to play a ton. His usage is going to be really good. He's not shown a ton of upside this season, but I still think he's a playable option at 6,900. I think Zach Collins at 6,400 is okay as well. He got into some foul trouble last game, but was still fairly productive in the minutes he played. 30 DK points in 26 minutes. He's been playing about like 30, 32 minutes per game in the games he has started. The games that have not been blowouts where he's avoided foul trouble. So as long as he avoids foul trouble, as long as it's not a blowout, I think we do get about 30, 32 minutes from Zach Collins. And again, a good per minute producer. I think he's still playable at 6,400. But that'll do it for that game. Not as much to like on San Antonio. I think most of my interest here is coming on the Utah side. So next game, we'll talk about Minnesota and the Clippers. So for the Clippers today, I don't see too much to like here. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, where they're priced at, I don't think either one looks super appealing today. We've seen the Clippers have been saying that Paul George is on a minutes limit, and then he just plays like a ton of minutes. I know the last two games have gone to overtime, but Paul George has still played 41 minutes and 36 minutes. So like they've been saying he's on a minutes limit, but he's going to play like 30 plus minutes if the game's close. So not looking too much into that. I think George and Kawhi they're playable, but neither one looks super appealing. Westbrook, since he's been with the Clippers, he's been okay. The two games he's played, he has started, and he's played 39 minutes. Obviously, that was an overtime game. Last game did go to overtime, but he got benched. He didn't play at all in the fourth quarter or in overtime. He only played 25 minutes, so that's a little concerning that the Clippers went away from Westbrook last game. Westbrook, can still produce when he gets minutes, at least from a fantasy perspective. But the fact that he lost minutes last game and was benched are definitely concerning. So I think Westbrook's more of a GPP play today, not super appealing. And then the bigs from the Clippers, Zubac is questionable for this game, so keep an eye on this. If Zubac returns, I'll just pass. I'll avoid the Clippers bigs here, but if they do, or if Zubac does remain out, we could look to Mason Plumlee. The 2 games that he has started, he's played 25 minutes and 27 minutes. He's been fairly productive in those games. Mason Plumlee, always been a good per-minute producer. I'd assume if there's no Zubac, we would see 25, 28 minutes from Plumlee, which at 5,200 would still put him in play. And that's really all for the Clippers. I think that's everything here. So let's talk about the other side of this game now with Minnesota. So for Minnesota today, you got Anthony Edwards coming in at 9,600. Not the best spot for Anthony Edwards against a pretty good Clippers defense. Kawhi, PG, both really good defenders. So I'm not looking to Ant today. I think he's more of a dart throw. He's going to be super low owned, I'd assume. If you want to play him in tournaments for low ownership, it's fine, but I'm not really building around Ant today. Rudy Gobert is 7,700. I think his price tag now that he's up to 7,700, he doesn't look as appealing either. The matchup against the Clippers, I think, is fine. Whether he's going up against like Zubac or Plumlee, I think it's a matchup that Gobert can have plenty of success in. But again, the price tag doesn't make Gobert look that appealing today. And the rest of Minnesota, Mike Conley, Kyle Anderson, these guys, Jaden McDaniels, going to pass on these guys, I think. So let's go ahead and talk about the last game of the night, the Blazers and the Warriors. So this is one that should be pretty appealing for fantasy. 2 teams that play relatively fast. Should be a relatively high-scoring game. We'll start off on the Golden State side. For Golden State, obviously still no Steph, still no Wiggins. I think Draymond is expected back for today. He is. He's probable. So, Poole and Clay, 8,500 for Poole, 8,100 for Clay. They're both fine options today. Neither one look like priorities, though. I think they're both priced about right. Poole lately has been a little bit underwhelming, whereas Clay has definitely kind of stepped up more. He's had back-to-back big games. I think because Clay has played so well lately and Poole has struggled, that'll probably make Poole's ownership much lower in tournaments. So, like in tournaments, if you want to play Poole, he'll be low-owned, I'd assume. He's definitely viable. I have a feeling both these Golden State guys will be low-owned in tournaments, so they're fine GBP plays, but I don't think there's any priorities coming from Golden State. Draymond is 6,800, feels priced about right. DiVincenzo should continue to start in place of Wiggins. He's playable at 5,400, had a really, really big game last game, but you do want to mention they didn't have Draymond that game, so I think that might have helped DiVincenzo a little bit, but I definitely think at 5,400, DiVincenzo is still in play today. But that'll do it for Golden State. There's really nothing else that looks that appealing here. So let's talk about the other side of this game now with Portland. And for Portland, Damian Lillard has just been on an absolute tear lately. This matchup against Golden State, I think, is totally fine. He's probably going to run into, he's probably going to be guarded by DiVincenzo just because they don't have Wiggins. Wiggins would probably be the guy that would guard Dame here, but no Wiggins, so it'll probably be DiVincenzo. That's definitely a matchup that Dame can excel in. And Dame has just been on another level lately. Usage has been through the roof. He's taken 25, 30 shots a game. 11.5, it feels like a lot to pay for Dame. Playing Dame over Jokic feels like it doesn't feel right because Jokic is just a guy that can stuff the stat sheet, whereas Dame, he kind of has to go out there and put up 40, 50 real-life points to get there. But, man, you look at these games lately. Obviously we had the 71-point game against Houston. He had 39 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists against Washington, 46-5 against the Lakers, 38, 2, and 9 against Oklahoma. He's just crushing right now. Nobody can stop Dame at this point. At least it seems like that. And in a fast-paced game like this against Golden State, there's plenty of upside here for Dame. So I don't have an issue going to Dame in tournaments. He's going to continue to have just a massive role, massive usage rate. Again, no Anthony Simons still. And I think Jusuf Nurkic is questionable. Or I don't think he's expected to play yet. So, once again, Dame is firmly in play. Jeremy Grant, on the other hand, not been nearly as appealing to roster. He's been really, really underwhelming lately. He's been playing really big minutes, but he just hasn't been that productive. I have a feeling at some point Jeremy Grant's going to have a good game, but it's not like we're getting a discount on him. He's still 7K, so at 7K, I'll probably pass on Jeremy Grant. Again, we don't have an update yet on Nurkic, but I assume Nurkic is probably still out. Don't really want to go to the bigs from Portland. It's really it's Dame that stands out here. Dame is just dominating usage right now. It's really hard for a lot of these other guys to put up great games. Cam Reddish has not really been doing much lately. He played 31 minutes, but had just 22 Draftkings points. Matisse Thybulle's been starting, but his minutes have been good, but production's not been that great. He's never been a good per-minute producer. So, that'll do it for Portland. Dame is definitely the guy that stands out most there. And that'll do it, guys, for this 10-game Tuesday slate. Hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown. I hope it did help. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you hit that like button down below, hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And again, if you guys are new to the channel and you have not checked out PrizePicks yet, PrizePicks is the sponsor of this video. You guys can sign up for PrizePicks and use my promo code NOAH. When you do sign up with my promo code, PrizePicks will match your first deposit up to $100. Take a look at some of the props they have already for Tuesday's games. If there's anything that stands out to you, again, you're just taking more or less on a player's projection. It's as simple as that. You have to make at least 2 picks, but you can make up to 6 picks. You can win up to 25x your money on PrizePicks. So again, guys, use that promo code NOAH when you sign up and get your deposit bonus when you do sign up. But that's all that I got for this Tuesday slate. Appreciate you guys watching the videos, supporting the content as always. We will see you guys in the next one.